Today we are heading back to the office, home of the Saskatchewan Urban Municipalities Association. Welcome to the Season 9 finale of MuniCast.
I grew up in a small town. I'm small town at heart. I moved to the city, but deep down I've not gone that far. No matter where my boots take me, I grew up in a small town and I still got one foot on Main Street.
MuniCast is brought to you by SUMA, the voice of Saskatchewan's urban municipalities. MuniCast discusses topics that are important to municipal leaders, like local governance, best practices, education, and so much more. Now in Season 9, we met with SUMA's Board of Directors. SUMA in 2025 adopted a new, modern governance structure built from a thorough governance review and member consultation. This new structure is a caucus model with a 7-member board and 34 representatives from villages, resort villages, towns, cities, and northern municipalities across all regions of the province, marking the beginning of a new chapter for the Saskatchewan Urban Municipalities Association. Now, in our Season 9 finale of MuniCast, we are honored to be speaking with SUMA's CEO. Our interview with SUMA CEO Marc Nadeau right after this message.
From the smallest villages to the largest cities, every day your urban municipality supports you. The water that travels from tap to sewer, the emergency services that keep you safe, the parks, libraries, and rinks that you enjoy. Our cities, towns, villages, resort villages, and northern municipalities are urban hubs bringing people together. We are urban. Celebrate your municipality as part of the urban family.
Marc, thank you so much for sitting down with myself, sitting down with MuniCast, and sitting down with Saskatchewan residents who are listening to this and who are watching this. I want to start, if you don't mind, by looking back on the year that was a transformative year for SUMA and the advocacy and the governance model that SUMA has changed into. Looking back as CAO of the organization, what were some of the highlights that you saw in 2025?
So 2025 has been a huge year for SUMA. Our advocacy has flip the narrative. We certainly have been extremely busy with a different approach to the way we advocate, the way we approach certain ministers and certain government officials. Our governance implementation by far took a lot of my time, which was expected, making sure that the caucuses are implemented, that the caucus members have an opportunity to bring issues. And that's been, there's like anything that's new, there's bumps in the road. I'm not going to deny that. But all in all, it's been a good year. We're seeing, especially with the caucuses, how the caucus members interact with each other. We're seeing actually live examples just this past month with our Northern Caucus, where caucus members were exchanging ideas right on the fly. And so I think all in all, it's been a very successful year, and I'm very pleased with it.
Looking back on the last 12 months while the new caucus model was implemented, that did not take you away from getting out on the open road and visiting member municipalities from across Saskatchewan. When you were speaking to municipal leaders, were they bringing up the new caucus model? And you sort of talked about it briefly, but let's play into it a little bit more if you don't mind. What was their thoughts? Because this is a big change for SUMA, because for 120 years you did it one way, and now you're doing it a completely different way. Are members excited? And when you're speaking to your board members around the table, are they excited to see where SUMA goes with this new model?
I think generally speaking, yes. I'm not going to lie that there's been some comments because people don't like change, Chris. That's just the bottom line of things. And they need to wrap their head and their experiences around it. And listen, this is none of this is unexpected. We kind of knew that was going to be the case. But when you sit down with the members, and I've traveled, as you mentioned. I've actually had 3 full weeks on the road in Saskatchewan. I visited nearly 55 to 60 communities during those 3 weeks, spread out throughout the year. There's been a lot of positive come out of that. I think at the end of the day, those that are a little bit further away from the structure, because they're maybe not on the caucus or obviously not on the board, they're not seeing necessarily all the positive right away, but we're going to continue rather promoting the success. And for those on the board, what they tell me anyway is that things are going well. Again, we're going to continue smoothing things out and building upon those past experiences over the last 12 months.
Well, I know from my standpoint, for those who don't like change, the one thing you never say in municipal government is we do it this way because we have always done it this way. It is the one thing that will guarantee you to get all municipal leaders skin crawling. So change is good sometimes, and it seems like the change that we have seen, speaking to the new board, when I've sat down with them for season 9 of MuniCast, they are all very supportive of that. When it comes from the staff perspective, how does this new caucus model support SUMA's advocacy work from behind the scenes?
First of all, there's 34 elected officials that are now involved in providing information. And so we get information live, basically. We get examples right from the field, right from the roads, and then we can inform our advocacy and in meetings with ministers, both federally and provincially. We can bring those examples directly to them. And listen, those ministers, they don't move, and that's just the way the system's built. I'm not being critical, but they don't move unless they hear directly from the membership, right? So these caucuses provide us the ability to bring those scenarios, those examples, right live to those advocacy meetings, and it's been very helpful. So the staff is very happy with the way we're structured now. It's a lot easier to bring, for example, we were supposed to have an advocacy forum this morning. Well, our caucus support staff were able to round up the caucus members to participate, and it's a lot easier to reach out directly that way. So it's been good.
Looking at the challenges that municipalities have faced in 2025, you and your team at SUMA have been on the front lines in ensuring the work that SUMA's Board of Governors, Board of Directors, and the representatives are advocating for are implemented, but also are getting to the ears of the people that it needs to get to in the halls of Regina. What do you hear from your members as the biggest challenge facing municipalities in the province of Saskatchewan, in urban Saskatchewan?
Well, it won't be any surprise to you and to our listeners that infrastructure is front and center. 60% of public infrastructure is managed by municipalities, yet we collect 10 cents on the dollar for every tax dollar that's collected in the country. So infrastructure support funding is first and foremost in all 4 categories of caucuses. But to a varying degree, they're all very similar in terms of what we're hearing from the caucuses. Infrastructure front and center, physician recruitment and retention, community safety bylaws. Those are all issues that are very similar across the 4 different caucuses. And so I'm not surprised, I'll be honest with you. When we talk about urban municipalities, whether it's a big city of Saskatoon or the smallest village in the province, their issues are just similar. It's just the number of zeros behind the first number that sort of dictates where it comes from. And we've known that anecdotally or even scientifically by some of the research we've done. But when I'm listening and reading some of these reports from the different caucuses, it just supports what I've been saying all along is municipalities, urban in particular, face the same challenges. And when we're advocating to the feds in the province, we're bringing the voice of 82% of the population, 450 urban municipalities that face similar issues across the board.
Speaking to the board of directors over the last few months, I've learned that when it comes to SUMA's advocacy, it's not big versus small. It's not a small community versus the city of Saskatoon. It's truly a team approach, a collaborative approach. How important and how has that collaborative approach shaped how SUMA operates day to day in 2025? And do you see it growing exponentially in 2026?
Well, like I said, we're going to build on the advocacy and the caucus model that we've established this year. Absolutely, the issues are similar, as I just alluded to or explained to you, and that's only going to expand moving forward. We've got some serious concerns with retention of medical personnel in different centers around the province, and mental health and addiction. Yes, we see it visually, perhaps in Saskatoon, Regina, and perhaps some of the smaller urbans, but it is permeated across the entire membership. And so that voice is a team approach. And we're going to continue when we're meeting with a minister around mental health and addiction. We're not just going to bring the chair of the city's caucus. We're going to bring the village caucus too, because guess what? They're dealing with it too. And so it's only going to continue growing on that front from a united voice and a team approach.
Over the last year, or probably even before that as well, collaboration seems to be the key message that SUMA has been talking about over the last few years. Now, collaboration can take many different forms. It can be through different municipalities. It can be through nonprofits and municipalities. It can be through the province and municipalities. Looking back on the last 12 months from SUMA's perspective and as CAO, are there examples that you have seen around successful collaboration between municipalities or between municipalities and any other stakeholder that other municipalities should look at? Because the other thing I often hear from municipalities is we will openly steal from the best of the best because we don't want to have to rewrite the book. So from SUMA's perspective, are there collaborative efforts that you're seeing on the ground that you say people should start looking at this area?
When you say that, we're just in the final throes of a case study that a colleague of mine, Roxanne Corpin, and I are writing. And we're writing the story of the town of East End, the RM of White Valley, and the RM of Arlington, all down in the southwest region of the province, and how that collaboration has brought success to the region. And I'll speak to the RMs based on what the comments we received from the officials down there, is that they recognize that the town of East End is the economic hub of the region. And so to ensure that community survives for economic reasons, whether it's the grocery store, the gas station, the library, the sporting activities, and so on and so forth. Because if that town does not survive, guess what? They're actually going to Shaunavon, or worse yet, going to Swift Current, or even worse to that, crossing into Alberta, because we know that some of those travels happen there in that direction as well. That is a success story that we want to promote. And I know there are others, and don't get me wrong, I'm honing on East End. I know there are others, and we're going to write more business case studies rather, in 26 to highlight some of those other stories that we're hearing and I'm seeing in my travels throughout the province and visiting with our members. Those are huge success. But I want to bring another reality to this partnership and sort of the coalition that we're creating in our narrative. Creating partnerships with CEDA, the Saskatchewan Economic Development Alliance, with the Saskatchewan Realtors Association, with the Association of Agricultural Producers in Saskatchewan. Those are all partnerships that are important to our members because if we take APAS, for example, our members are the economic hub of the agricultural industry. Those farmers, when they need parts and equipment and other important piece of for their operations, they come to our urban municipalities. That's where the John Deeres of the world and the Red now I'm going to forget the name of that company, but those companies are all in our areas. And when they want to use hospitals or schools, for the most part, they are in our areas, in our urban municipalities. So understanding how APAS operates and the work that they do and how we can support the agricultural industry is very important to us. And so we continue to build those coalitions so that we can build a better story for our members and for those industries as well.
I want to talk about SUMA as an organization for a few seconds because some people might be watching this, might be listening to this, who don't know what SUMA does. But in 2024, SUMA launched at the time of the provincial election, the successful campaign. For those who are watching, you'll see this over Jean-Marc's shoulder, the We Are Urban campaign. And it is a mantra that you sort of took and you have ran with in 2025. What does SUMA do at the end of the day?
We're advocating on behalf of the urban municipalities in Saskatchewan. And urban municipality is very clear who they are as part of the Municipalities Act. We're well defined in the Act. This is not a marketing ploy necessarily. This is really how we are defined in the Municipalities Act of Saskatchewan. And so we want to celebrate, like I said earlier, these urban economic hubs in the region, the importance of having the urban communities around the province and bringing their stories and bringing their challenges to the forefront, to the different levels of government, to other organizations in the province that don't understand, because when they see urban, they think of Saskatoon and Regina, maybe Saskatoon or Moose Jaw and Prince Albert, but really that's it. They don't talk about the town of Nipawin or the town of Maple Creek that are important for in their regions, in their economic hub for that area. So we're bringing our job is to bring those stories forward, to advocate and to find solutions to help those communities thrive and continue providing services to the citizens within their area.
The work that SUMA does is not just on a provincial level as well. You are also advocating to the federal government whenever you get a chance to. How important is it to bring the message of Saskatchewan's urban communities, municipalities to the federal government when you meet with the ministers? Because I know your President Golden has met with ministers alongside yourself and alongside some of your board members as well. How important is it to bring that Saskatchewan perspective to Ottawa as well?
It's huge. Listen, we're members of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, and FCM is a strong partner of ours, and we rely on them for building those relationships with the federal government. That said, FCM has a very large membership as well, from coast to coast to coast. And so for us, it is important at times to bring our own message to the federal government, because the realities on the ground in Saskatchewan and the prairies for that matter is somewhat different from different parts of the country. And I have a great relationship and strong partnership with all the municipal associations across the country, from New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, all the way to BC in the north and so on. And we all speak generally the same language, but at the end of the day, the value or the importance of the stories of our Saskatchewan members is key to their success. So we have to bring that message forward. And we were very pleased with the opportunity to travel in October to Ottawa with Minister Schmaltz and our colleagues from SARM to advocate on behalf of, as a united front, advocate on behalf of municipalities in Saskatchewan when it comes to the need for infrastructure dollars and support for our mental health and addiction issues, and a plethora of, public safety. What's the value? Sorry, not the value, but what's the commitment of the federal government with respect to the RCMP moving past 2032? We know that the contract's being hopefully renegotiated, although we don't hear much about it. So we're hoping that those conversations have started. And what will that look like past 2032 for the other 20-year tranche of the contract? So those conversations are very important. And we continue bringing those stories on behalf of our municipalities to the federal government as we move forward. And we're hoping to have another day on the Hill with the provincial united front, hopefully in 2026 as well.
So let's talk about 2026 because it is right on the heels of us recording this interview. Looking at 2026, what does the future hold in store for the Saskatchewan Urban Municipalities Association?
Well, big changes like the governance structure doesn't happen overnight, right, Chris? So we're going to continue building the caucuses, making sure that we smooth things out, engaging the people where required, bringing the caucuses to the advocacy front. So those are challenges that we're going to continue building, or I'm going to continue building on. We've just approved our strat plan, so don't ask me about it yet because it's not ingrained in my head just yet. But it's on paper and I don't have it in front of me. But there's some exciting opportunities. They're going to be part of the strat plan. Continuing to build on the narrative of building those coalitions with the different organizations. Our sister organization is obviously very important, but they're not the only organization in this province, that have an impact on our municipalities. And so we're going to continue building that narrative with the Saskatchewan Heavy Construction Association, who had their recent conference here in Regina 2 weeks ago. That I had the pleasure of attending and meeting up with Chantal Lip, building relationships again with the Landlord Association and a number of other organizations that have an impact on the work that our municipalities are doing. That's first and foremost. I'm looking forward to continuing to visit our members on the ground. I've got the Northwest planned or being planned in the new year as a first trip. So visiting the Lloydminster area and North Battleford, all that part of the province that I haven't been in a while. Time for me to go back there, so I'm looking forward to that. And we're actually going to be hosting a group from Sri Lanka at our convention in April. So that's going to be an interesting visit. The FSLGA, the Federation of Sri Lankan Communities, are coming to visit us, and we're looking forward to hosting them at our convention in 2026.
So you must have known where I was going to go with 2026, because the big event that is going to happen earlier on in 2026 is the SUMA convention. Now, this is the time where members will be able to get together and talk about the best practices, learn from each other about what's going on in individual communities, but it is also a great time to take a pulse of what's going on in our urban communities. From your perspective, can you give us a hint of what this year's convention is going to look like, Jean-Marc, or is it still tight-lipped as we head into 2026?
It's tight-lipped, my friend. We've got we're going to have two keynote speakers again this year. In fact, we just signed a partnership agreement with U of R and former councillor Bob Hawkins from Regina has a fund that we're going to be tapping into for a municipal speaking series, and that will be part of our convention this year. It will be the inaugural keynote speaking. So we're looking forward to having that. But the rest, stay tuned. There'll be some new events, some new opportunities. We've got the Monday evening's going to be something new that we're working on. So it's going to be exciting, and it's in Regina. So looking forward to hopefully hosting you too. Hopefully you'll join us this year.
I certainly will be, because season 10 is going to be starting in the springtime as well of MuniCast. So we will be there speaking to municipal leaders from across Saskatchewan as well. So my final question, Jean-Marc, and it's an important one as we look ahead. What haven't we talked about how SUMA has changed over the last year and how it plans to continue serving the great people of Saskatchewan in 2026 that you want to ensure that people know?
I think bottom line 2026 is going to be exciting from a governance standpoint. We're going to continue building on the success we had in 25. I want to stabilize the organization that way. So there's not going to be, I don't think, huge new opportunities, other than we want to make sure that we support the membership as best we can. We know there's some challenges out there, from a consultant standpoint, from an HR to legal to strategic planning. So it's having some conversations with experts out there to build some rapport with them so that they can support our members the best they can. We've got some research going on. Dr. Stephanie Ortinsky from our research associate is going to be speaking at our convention about some of the research results she's seeing already. But 26 is going to be stabilizing the ship, if you will, making sure that what we've implemented in 25 continues to build on for 26.
Well, I want to thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with us. It's always a pleasure to sit down with you, Jean-Marc, and talk about the issues that are going on in SUMA and the great work that SUMA is doing behind the scenes for every single municipality urban in the province of Saskatchewan. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for spending time with myself, with the listeners and the viewers of MuniCast, and looking forward to our continued conversations in 2026, my friend.
I take this opportunity to wish you and your family a best holiday season for 2025, and we're looking forward to speaking with you next year.
Thank you once again for tuning in for MuniCast. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to MuniCast on your favorite podcast platform, or hit that subscribe button if you're watching us on YouTube. So until 2026, thanks for spending a little more time with us, and we'll see you down on Main Street for season 10 of MuniCast.
I grew up in a small